As we know, the Fed has no idea what they're doing. I think they're drunk with press. Like, why are they always on TV? Why are they doing so many interviews?
Yeah, because this is their chance. It's like Fauci,
they're like the Fauci.
Like you have a chance. You have your moment. You might as well shine. You get a book off of this, a podcast.
Like, we shouldn't know who Neil Kashkari is.
No. Unfortunately. I'm sure he's a great guy.
He actually was very instrumental during the 2008 financial crisis, but we should have forgotten about him.
Yeah.
Just go privately, do your work.
We don't need to be knowing anybody in the federal government.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, welcome to group chat. Woo! Here on group chat, we are very inclusive, but Dee has a new economic theory that is very exclusive. And we're going to talk about it. He's going to go ahead and put it forward. He's going to publish it. Well, I guess he just did. This is about the most we're going to get. He's really hoping for a Nobel Peace Prize here. But, we're talking about all things inflation. The numbers are in. We know the inflation number. It's not the prettiest.
But don't worry. There's my new economic theory, EET.
Dee Powell.
Yeah, Dee Powell.
Oh, that's good.
Is here to save the day. I have a new way of digesting economic data and presenting it to the world.
It's very precise.
With a very positive outlook.
Yeah.
EET.
I like it. So we're going to talk about it. You're going to learn all about it. You're going to learn about everything going on in the market, in everything with inflation. There's a lot of news. We're obviously talking, we're going to talk a little bit about NFL. We got to go this Kanye stuff. I mean, Kanye is just, the talk of the town. So we got to cover it, and many other things. And then, of course, we're going to end with our winners, losers, and content. And we're going to kick you off with an interview. Who do we got, Dee?
We got Brad Neumann, one of our friends who's been on the podcast before, has an amazing new iced tea brand called St. James. We talk about his journey in CPG, how hard it is to really break through, and why we think they're going to win.
And a never before discount as large as this ever in the history of group chat.
Oh yeah. He as an avid listener, he's like, people usually come with 10%, 20%. I'm coming with boom.
Wow.
He dropped the hammer.
Good for him. We should have like a record number, and we should always challenge our guests to beat it.
Yeah. 100% off.
Yeah, give it away for free.
I agree. I think we could push to that level. Socialism. Okay. That's it. Everyone, are we ready? Let's get into it.
All right, everyone. We like to have our friends on the podcast that have awesome businesses. And our friend Brad Neumann actually brought us some drinks and popcorn a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Roar Drinks.
Yep.
And what was the name of the popcorn?
Light Pop,
which was great. That was a big hit in the office. Yeah. And what's interesting is like, CPG is the category that I am extremely intimidated by. It looks fucking impossible. Like when I hear these brands break out, it feels like, whoa, how do you, and I come from basically t-shirt business, apparel, which is like overly crowded, also feels impossible. But I guess since I've only know that, I feel like I know the formula to break through. How did you kind of end up in this space? Because it's always like people in apparel. Like I always tell kids, like, why would you want to be in the apparel business? Right. It's the fucking worst business.
Right.
And I would assume if someone came to you, you'd give a similar answer.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between our industries, and I would say yes, stay out of the CPG space as well. It is incredibly competitive. You walk down the aisle of a grocery store, there's no less than 100 brands in a cold box or in a cooler. So specifically in the beverage, or if you're in the snacks or food aisle, it's very, very challenging to have your brand stand out. They typically say you have about 3 seconds to catch a consumer's attention when you're in a store. So I've been in the beverage business or the CPG space for about 12 and a half years now. I graduated from the business school at Georgetown in 2007, but I majored in entrepreneurship and the management of new and small businesses. So I always wanted to have something and be involved in startups and small brands. My first job out of school was at a real estate hedge fund. That was in 2007. So
Great timing.
Not the best timing.
No one in your business school thought that was a bad idea.
Yeah. So in 2009, I wasn't doing that anymore. And
Was the fund still around?
It closed shortly after. So, in 2009, 2010, I pivoted and actually was going to get into the restaurant and hospitality business. Growing up in New York, I always had a really strong network, specifically in the nightlife and event space and things like that. So at that time, Red Bull was looking to hire someone to create a summer programming out in the Hamptons. And my name just kind of got thrown across their desk from 4 or 5 different people. I ended up working with them that summer, and that turned into a 5.5-year stay at Red Bull.
Wow.
So I started as, just a sales rep, worked my way up to running all of the nightlife and on-premise events in New York City.
That's a fun job.
For Red Bull.
Great events.
Great events.
And I know how that works. You can take your credit card and go buy fucking vodka Red Bulls for the whole club.
That is exactly how it works.
I was a beneficiary of the LA rep for many years.
Corporate account is nice.
It is nice. And obviously this was, a long time ago where there were no concerns on the corporate side. But my friends did not pay for a meal, a drink, a bottle in 5.5 years. So after Red Bull, I actually moved out to LA to be with my now wife, and I moved over to Anheuser-Busch. So I became the director of sales and trade marketing for the whole West Coast for their portfolio. Managed a 180-person sales team across 5 states. Did that for about 2 years before starting Raw Organic, which is, one of the first reasons we all met. After that, it's been a bunch of startups. Some have been really successful. Some have not been successful. It is a really, really tough business. And it's one of those, environments where 95% of brands don't make it. And, we can talk about a bunch of different barriers and why certain brands can't scale or can't grow, but it is incredibly competitive. But having said that, I love it. I love building brands and starting companies. And I think it's really important to note, it's very easy to build a product. It is impossible to build a brand. And I hear you guys talk about this all the time. And I think the dichotomy between those two things is really important for entrepreneurs as they're starting to, grow their own companies.
Yeah. The thing that the first question I have, if you were to want to get into CPG, does it feel like a Red Bull or a P&G is like a good place to go work before you go do it? Or do you think you don't need what they offer? Because it feels like Red Bull and P&G alumnus, even Anheuser-Busch alumnus, are pretty incredible people.
Yeah. I have a mixed feedback on that. I would say yes, 100%, especially in this business, go learn from people that have done it before. Getting experience with the big guys is crucial to understanding how to grow and run your own business. Red Bull was an unbelievable 5 years. It was obviously a lot of fun, but you learn about networking, you learn about relationships, you learn about activating brands, in front of consumers. My experience at Anheuser-Busch was completely different. It was incredibly corporate. I was on Excel 15 hours a day, on PowerPoint 15 hours a day, putting together reports that...
What does Anheuser-Busch own besides beer that I'm not thinking?
They have a huge portfolio. They now have seltzers, just like everyone else. They have a pretty large NA category. They just recently got into the coffee space with Super Coffee, who are good friends of mine. They have a exclusive distribution deal with them. So when I actually joined Anheuser-Busch, they were looking to create their near beer category, which is they've got their main portfolio of the $7 billion brands. They've got the craft beer, and near beer are malt liquor products, carbonated products, NA, and then also...
What's NA?
Non-alcoholic.
Okay, got it.
Non-alcoholic, yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. Exactly. But again, those 2 years, while not as fun as my time at Red Bull, I learned the nuts and bolts of the business, right? I spent time on trucks with truck drivers, meeting with distributors, whereas Red Bull was more consumer facing.
Yeah.
If I didn't learn the actual business at Anheuser-Busch, I wouldn't be able to do what I do now.
And so, given how how hard it is, why are you doing it again?
Next question. I mean, listen, I think the last 2.5 years have been really unique in my business. A lot of brands have seen, major constraints. And I hear you guys talk about it every week in other industries. Supply chain is no joke.
Yeah.
Raw materials, the increase in prices is no joke. One thing that I think is funny, Anand, I've heard you say about grocery stores and when you're talking about margin and razor slim margins, I always want to grab the phone and text you and be like, that's not true, right? Like one of the biggest issues that I've had over the last 2 years is my retail partners have raised their minimum margin requirement. So it's now costing me more to make my product. It's costing me 5 times more to ship it because of freight and fuel surcharge and all that. And the margin requirement from the retailer has gone up. So, our traditional model, similar to, clothing, we have a 3-tier model. It's supplier, distributor, retailer. So I can't price myself out of the market, right? If my product is $2.99 every day, I have to charge $4.50. It's going to have to hit $4.50 on the shelf because of all my price increases, and I can't do that.
Yeah.
So the retailers are still being made whole. Distributors are still getting their margin. It's just suppliers that have been forced to take the hit. So I think we've had to get really creative on how best to vertically integrate our systems to make sure that we can survive these types of environments and then also set ourselves up for long-term success.
Yeah, I guess what I was kind of referencing is that, sure, Ralph's, Kroger's, Albertsons, they're going to put it on the back of the suppliers, right? They don't care.
Exactly.
They have the power, but they still do run single-digit margin businesses. So that's why when they use a company like Instacart and give a take rate, they're cannibalizing their entire business. But yeah, of course, they're going to have to keep increasing the margin requirements because their labor costs are up, their supply costs are up.
Yeah.
So they screw you guys.
Correct. So it's funny. And I would say the single largest barrier to entry in CPG is funding, right? Most companies are raising money every 6 to 9 months. And that's because we burn cash like tech companies, right? They're doing it a little differently.
But you guys get tech outcomes.
We do. Yeah. And I'll talk about the valuations and kind of how that works. I always find it funny when you guys use the word EBITDA because that doesn't exist in my industry.
There's no E, it's just
EBITDA. Exactly. That's not a part of our model. But funding is a huge barrier because we have slotting fees, right?
Yeah.
So it's costing me money just to get it on the shelf, even if I don't ever sell a single unit. After that, I have to promote it. So when you see, a 2 for $5 special or something on sale, that's not the retailer funding that. Suppliers fund those discounts. And then on top of that, that's all coming out of our product margin. Then we have to hire people. We have to market outside a store. We have to market inside a store. So there's a tremendous cash need to just maintain, nonetheless, scale and grow our businesses.
Yeah.
So now that you've talked about how miserable it is, what are you working on?
Yeah. So St. James is an incredible new product. It is a new line of organic flavored iced tea. My partner and founder is the co-founder of Arizona Iced Tea.
Oh, wow.
So he launched Arizona in 1992, disrupted the industry on the lower end of the section, 99-cent cans, etc. And 20 years later, we're looking to do it again, but on the premium side of the market. So This is a, organic, all natural, very healthy, super tasty line of flavored iced teas. And the most important thing I think that stands out about our product is our packaging. So we are sustainably packaged in Tetra Pak, which is, the highest rate of recyclability in any packaging out there. 75% paper. Even our caps are biodegradable and fully break down. So I think, when you're looking at kind of where consumer trends are going for both consumer and customer, because those two things are different in my business, right?
Yeah.
My customer is the retailer.
Yeah.
My consumer is obviously the end buyer. Understanding where those trends are, what buyers want to hear, how you're going to bring incremental sales to their existing business, and then obviously how we're going to capture the hearts and minds of consumers at that point of conversion, right? Or how we're going to drive trial. St. James is it's organic. It's green tea. We have 4 flavors that are green tea based. We just launched another flavor that's a black tea based. It's super healthy, super tasty. It tastes like it should have 45 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
Only has 4 grams of sugar.
Yeah, that was my first thing as soon as you handed it to me.
Yeah.
That's my instinct, is to check sugar. And I was like, oh,
Yep.
4 grams? I could do that.
Exactly.
Where is it sold currently?
So we just launched in April of this year. So we're
Wow.
about 6 months in. We'll be in over 1,000 stores by the end of the year.
Wow.
How we decided to launch this product was a proof of concept model in South Florida. It's a little less competitive as a market like LA or San Francisco. So we put this in about 350 accounts, independent accounts in South Florida. And we saw tremendous success in a very short amount of time.
And why is that? So like, I'm always curious of how, basically in CPG space, you are changing a behavior someone has had for a very long period of time.
Right.
Like I always, my example growing up was like, if you're a smoker and you smoke Marlboro Red, like, how do you get that person to try another cigarette brand, right? And so how does it work? Like, iced tea is a humongous category. How do you break through in a category like this?
It's a great question. I think the way that we're looking at it is really through our partnerships and how we activate the brand. So the tea category is a $14 billion category just in the US alone.
Wow.
It's the second most consumed product in the world behind water. So obviously the market and the opportunity is tremendous. From a competitive standpoint, Honest Tea just recently got DC'd by Coke. So that gives a huge opportunity for us to go after their shelf space and, help fill that void at retailers.
DC means discontinued?
Discontinued. Yeah. Okay. Discontinued.
So Honest Tea's a wrap?
Honest Tea
That's
is
a
a
good
wrap.
product.
Huh.
Honest Tea is a wrap.
We used to get a lot of free Honest Tea back in the day. It was always in the office.
Yeah. And what was their rationale for that?
They haven't really disclosed that.
Yeah.
Coke just announced, a couple of weeks ago that they're discontinuing the line.
So that's a huge opportunity for you
opens up the door for brands like us. So back to partnerships, we are overly investing in our partnerships. Like we said, focusing on consumers and outside of retail marketing. We want to be at the right place at the right time where consumers are creating lasting memories, experiences, etc. From our positioning standpoint, we are a premium product, and that's translating into our partnership. So we have a national partnership with Soho House. We are available at every Soho House in the country, and we are, quote unquote, a title sponsor for all of their large tentpole activations.
Cool.
That's number one. We signed a partnership with the Ennismore Hotel Group. So the SLS, the Mondrian, the Faena, huge marketing activation partnerships with them at key tentpole, events. And then at the same time, we're getting distribution in the venues and in the mini room fridges, in the hotel room. So we have over, 2,000 rooms where we have distribution.
Wow.
What I think is really important to discuss about the partnerships, and what I think a lot of brands don't do well in CPG, is they don't know how to say no. And that works on events, and that also works in distribution. I have a strategy of going an inch wide and a mile deep, and focusing on fewer core markets, creating a really, really impactful selling story to then take that to other markets, other regions, other retailers. The same thing works for events.
So what is that? What is explain the inch wide? I've never heard that. I like that. I might steal that.
You haven't heard that?
I didn't even know what salvo was like 2 days ago. How the fuck am I know what inch wide, mile deep means?
Yeah, inch wide, mile deep means, for example, let's take LA for into consideration. If a grocery store in Dallas were to call me and say, I have 500 stores, do you want to come take the stores? I have to have the ability to say no, and a lot of brands don't. And what I mean by that is my focus right now is LA. So I want to be in the right accounts. I want to make sure that I'm over investing in store and out of store so that customers know what my brand is. Like you said, how are they going to, change their behavior and start to interact with your brand? Control the controllables is what I like to say, right? So focus on a few core markets. If you can create a really sexy selling story from a data perspective that, we average 5 units a day at these 300 stores in LA, that gives me the ammo to go to a national retailer like a Kroger or a Safeway or a Publix and say, this is what we can do in 1 or 2 markets. Give us 3 more. Yeah. And we'll kind of extrapolate that and
then
grow
you'll go put the marketing effort in those
exactly.
markets.
And the same thing for the partnerships. I get offered to sponsor events and festivals, all over the place. But if I don't have a push to retail, it just doesn't make sense, right? Yeah. The last thing you want to do is overinvest in some type of event. People love the product. and then they can't buy it anywhere.
Yeah.
They can't go find it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's understanding that simple mix of there's going to be the larger brand awareness plays that you just have to do to help build the brand, but really focusing and honing in on hyper local when you can in your core markets. So that's what I mean by inch wide and mile deep.
Yeah, it's like one of those banker platitude sayings: measure twice, cut once.
Boiling the ocean.
You've heard that from every investor around.
I like boiling the ocean.
You're boiling the ocean?
No, it's just basically it's impossible.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, but back to St. James. Right now, we're focusing on Miami and South Florida.
Okay.
We've got about 500 accounts. So we've got about 400 accounts out here in LA. We launched with Sprouts, with Bristol Farms, Vintage Grocers. Obviously, Soho House is a big partner. We've got about 300 stores in San Francisco. And then obviously there's kind of like the regional activations, like the Hamptons and the Montauk scene is very important for brand awareness. So we had a partnership with Surf Lodge.
Sounds like you're recreating your Red Bull life.
Yeah. Aren't you married now? What are you worried about Surf Lodge?
Well, it's a fair point. I unfortunately did not go to Surf Lodge once this summer, but we sold about 400 cases over 2.5 months at $9 a pop. So again, it's right. It's creating those lasting memories and experiences with the brand.
So it's truly a premium brand because the brands you're aligning with are kind of the better elevated experiences.
Exactly. And I think,
what's the retail on this?
$299.
Oh, okay.
$299. So
where does that compare to what's
Celsius is $3.99.
Wow.
Celsius is $3.99. For other teas in the category, you're going to see anywhere, from $1.99 to $3.49, $3.79. So I think we're right in the middle. We want it to be price sensitive where we need to still have mass market appeal while trying to be niche and premium, the way that we're positioning it. But I think at $2.99, it's still an affordable price point where you can drive trial, where people are willing to spend a couple bucks to try something out if they've seen it on Instagram or seen it at an event, etc.
Yeah.
You're not pricing them out.
And what was the magic of Arizona iced tea? Was it just that big ass can?
That big ass can.
I remember in high school. When did it launch?
92.
Okay. So I was in high school 94 to 98. I remember in high school, that can was like
everywhere.
Every single person. It was like a social thing. You had to have that can. And do you think the can, the product was good and it was very unique for that time period, but how much was it the packaging?
The packaging made a huge difference.
Yeah.
100%. I think you hit the nail on the head. But also remember in the early 90s, people weren't worrying about what's on the back. Right? Yeah. They weren't reading the nutritional panel. They weren't focusing on sugar count. Some of the larger competitors in our space now, the Pure Leaf and some of the other products, they have 40, 50, 60 grams of sugar.
That's more than a Coke.
It's much more than a Coke.
Isn't a Coke like 35?
Coke is in the 30s.
But let me ask you a question to that. How do you educate the consumer that that's actually bad for you? Because I don't think people know. Because if you leave our 4-mile bubble,
right,
people look a lot different.
They do. But you know what? It's funny, man. You're starting to see middle America. You're starting to see other markets focus more on a better for you, healthier lifestyle within the last 3 years than we've ever seen. I was talking to a broker for Walmart, and they were saying that, in middle America, if your product has ashwagandha, it'll sell out in 2 weeks.
Wow.
When would you ever think that, those states would care about something like ashwagandha?
What's ashwagandha?
So it's
an organic herb type.
Exactly. It's a plant-based. So
you think additive. We might be hitting that inflection point that people outside the coast care about this stuff?
100%.
I think 100%. The thing that I'm always shocked on is really, I don't think people equate sugar yet to negative.
Right.
I think they realize, hey, it'd be great if I had all these other cool things, but I'm not willing to sacrifice sugar, and which is the worst thing in the world.
Terrible for you.
Literally the worst. Yeah. And so I'm always surprised at people's sugar behavior. It's not people aren't educated about that.
Yeah, no, I think there's
I didn't honestly I grew up drinking 3 to 6 wild cherry Pepsis a day. A day.
It's a lot.
That's how much soda I used to drink a day.
Well,
until my first day of college at USC. I'm having my casual, 6-pack of sodas. I remember the kid I didn't know goes, "Hey, you drink a lot of soda." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "That's bad for you." I'm like, "Is it?" I'm like, "Why is it bad?" He's like, "Has a lot of sugar." I'm like, "Yeah, 0 calories." And he's like, "Sugar's way worse." No joke, never had soda ever again.
Yeah.
I literally cut soda out that day, first day of USC. And I remember my freshman year of college, I worked out, but I lost 15 fucking pounds.
Yeah.
Just because I cut soda
Well, you
out.
didn't read the can properly because the sugar sodas are 240 calories.
Whatever. Maybe I was
That's
drinking a zero.
That's all added sugar.
Yeah,
right?
maybe
Like,
it was
that's
added
added
So you're
sugar.
sucking down 1,500 calories of soda a day.
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, that didn't
Then
that
grilled
include
cheese,
my Dairy
fries,
Queen,
exactly.
grilled cheese,
My
and Taco
fries,
Bell.
Del Taco.
That I would get. Yeah.
So you're
Exactly.
sucking down 6,000-7,000 calories.
Yeah, if I wasn't playing 3-4 hours of tennis a day, I would be 300-400 pounds.
Just in general, a lifestyle that's frowned upon. Right? that gladly we moved on from. I mean, listen.
You know
I
what's
think-
interesting that you say that they're actually seeing an uptick in people caring about it in these different markets.
Mhm.
We were just talking about Joe Rogan before the pod. Like, he's the biggest media outlet, period,
Mhm.
in America. 20 plus million listeners 3 times a week or whatever it is. He talks about health and wellness pretty much every single episode. He talks about how bad sugar is for you, how you need to get into the gym, get vitamin D, be active. I wonder if there's a correlation with his popularity with people
And then
outside the markets. Because, dude, he had like 3 comedians on. They're all into fitness. Comedians are normally like drunks that like party till 4 or 5 in the morning. They're talking about cold plunges and stuff. That's all Rogan.
Yeah.
He like basically
he's had a tremendous impact on the culture, 100%. But even if, I know you guys travel a lot, you go to, quote unquote, secondary markets like Nashville, Charleston, Austin. Everyone's wearing Lululemon or
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
those
You know
markets
what
are
I
healthy
mean?
now.
Like
Yeah.
the markets that you wouldn't, always think were health focused are, and
Yeah.
that's starting to spread more and more.
So the last question I'll leave you with is, you didn't mention D2C.
Mhm.
What's going on there? Is that not a focus? Is that a tough nut to crack in beverage because of shipping costs?
Yeah.
Like,
It's definitely tough for us. The brand, like I said, we launched in April. We've been on Amazon. If you go on our website, it pushes you to Amazon. Everything goes through Amazon. We have a nice six-digit piece of business already online, which is great. The shipping costs are tough with the weight. The other problem is, again, when it goes back to driving trial, to get someone to commit to buying 12 of something if they've never tried it is tough. So we had to introduce a variety pack where you get to try all the flavors. But I think, I hear you guys talk about all the time on how the hacks for D2C just aren't what they used to be, right?
Yep.
And the cost per clicks are astronomical. You're not really seeing the conversion and the returns. What I will say is, when you guys mentioned, the valuations that we get in CPG, that is one of the single largest indicators as to why your multiplier might be bigger, right? And I know you guys talked about Liquid Death recently. What Liquid Death has done in 3 years is insane.
how much of that is due to that they had enough cash to just withstand it?
So it is a lot, right? But I think the biggest thing that sets them apart from other brands is in their partnership. So that's kind of why I'm trying to take a little bit of their strategy and
What was
implement
their
that with St.
partnership?
James. So they started with Science Incubator.
Yep.
One of their first investors in that seed round was Live Nation. So you immediately had Liquid Death plugged into stadiums, events, sporting events, and now they were the water all over the country. And now, again, we talk about experiences with consumers, right?
Yeah.
Really fun memories. They are
Everyone's favorite memory is a concert. Yeah.
Exactly. A concert, a basketball game, a football game, whatever it is. The other thing, the founder of Liquid Death was a producer from Netflix. He quit Netflix to start Liquid Death, but Liquid Death went in, 5 shows on Netflix that year with product placement. So I think their partnership, they had cash to start, which 100% separates them from most other brands. But it's that Live Nation was really what helped blow up that business. So yes.
So are people buying, as someone who doesn't buy anything,
Yeah.
are people walking into a grocery store? I mean, I don't have a wallet half the time. I couldn't even buy anything if I wanted to. Are people walking into a grocery store and buying Liquid Death?
Yes.
They must be.
But they might just be on premise. They might be just crushing it.
I don't know what Peter Pham's involvement was, but I've been at like tech events with him, and he used to hawk that thing everywhere. They were pretty aggressive about like
events,
just bringing. No, you bring the product to like a dinner, and just hand out 10 cans of liquid death.
Yeah. And what's interesting is.
But 100%. I mean, in 3 years, they're in 60,000 retailers across the country.
Wow.
The product is on the shelf and it's moving on the shelf. It's moving off the shelf. They've had incredibly unique brand marketing that just hit. But it's funny, you guys were talking about where they could possibly go. I don't see how a Coke or Pepsi or a KDP could buy them because their marketing is so off center, if you will, right? Like
it doesn't fall in
putting a porn star on their Instagram. Like that was hysterical. And they got, a ton of press about it, but that's not really something that Coke would want to align themselves with.
Yeah.
So they're almost a little too edgy. They most likely would go public if I had to guess. But yeah, I mean, they've built an incredible business in a short amount of time. But I think it comes back to those partnerships, events, and activating in, core markets at the right time.
So if our listeners want to try St. James, you got a code for us on the website?
I got a code for you guys. You can find us. Our website is stjamesiced.com. Again, it'll push you to Amazon. You can go right to Amazon. Group chat 40. Get 40% off your initial order.
That's a real discount.
Guys, it's a recession out there. You probably had to give up drinking iced tea. Yeah. And we just got your 40% discount.
I've been listening to the pod for 5 years. I always hear 20, 15, 25.
Cheap passes.
I called my digital guy and I go, what's the bare minimum that I have to make a penny? 40%. You guys got it. Group chat 40. Get 40% off your order on Amazon.
And then where are the brick and mortar locations in like that? Bristol Farms,
Sprouts, Vintage Grocers. Like if you're in a Soho House or Mondrian, great. Up in NorCal, we're in Rayleigh's. We're launching King Supers in Denver. ShopRite in New Jersey. We're all over the place.
And in Miami, like in like the grocery stores in South Florida?
Local regional grocery stores. So again, because the way our business works with review periods, you have to meet a year before to try and gain distribution.
Wow.
So we are now in our review period to set up our growth for 2023. So hopefully next time, if I'm on next year, I can list off another 5,000 retailers that will be.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it live from the Surf Lodge. Never been there. I've never been to the Hamptons. Maybe I'll go.
You've never been to the Hamptons?
Never been to the Hamptons.
Oh, figure it out, man.
Missing out.
Well, I also know it's important for CPG companies, if you're a group chat fan, go to one of the stores and request it. Because those data points matter.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to ask you, this was going to be a topic on one of the episodes. So I'll just forward it since you're here. I read an article about Bang Energy.
Bankrupt.
Yeah, bankrupt. What the hell happened?
That was like the TikTok phenomenon, right?
So Bang Energy, their founder, Jack, is an interesting cat. They were supposed to get acquired by Pepsi last year. That deal fell through and he's been since suing Pepsi. This most recent Chapter 11 filing, they have over $1 billion in liabilities and lawsuits.
I just saw that.
Bang is not going anywhere. This is a accounting tactic, right? They're going Chapter 11 to rebuild their distribution model. Product will not change. You'll still see it on stores. You'll see it all over the place.
Wow.
How much in business were they doing?
Oh, I don't know that offhand, but they've got a nice piece of business.
I wonder if the TikTok kids got stiffed because it was on every TikTok for a period of time.
Yeah. But similar to Liquid Death, they grew really, really fast.
Yeah.
The problem is they came out with 35 SKUs. So you started to see retailers love Bang and then hate Bang because they've got too many flavors, taking up too much shelf space, and the turns aren't there to warrant all the facings. So
amazing.
Bang's really had a up and down situation.
Okay. I was just curious. Yeah. All right, everyone. stjamesiced.com, group chat 40. That is the recession special that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Maybe you whip out your credit card today.
Yeah. I'm going to buy it. Those prices I can afford. I saw the Uber the other day. I was like, Javier, can you pick me up? It's just $30 to get here.
We're here to help.
All right. Thanks, man. Great seeing you.
Brad.
Thanks, guys.
Man, I love that iced tea.
It's great, isn't it?
Oh, jeez.
Nice
great interview.
cow.
I don't want to be a jerk. Great interview. I'm sorry I missed it. Great guy, that Brad.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Gotta love them. Okay. News time.
Yeah.
First things first, Anand. Can I give all the info here?
Yeah, all of it.
Okay. So 2 things happened to me the day before yesterday that were really, I just felt like worth talking about. Number 1, my good friend Anand texted me randomly and said, hey, how dangerous is Hollywood right now? I'm trying to go to a concert on Friday night and got to kind of, there's a parking situation. I got to kind of walk a little bit, but I just want to know, am I in danger if I park on this street, whatever. We'll get to that. But number 1, insane. I mean, Anand, even longer than I have, but we have all been going out in Hollywood, walking the streets to cabs and to cars and to whatever for
at
well
every
over a
hour
decade.
of the night.
every hour of the night. Very vulnerable. And never once have had to ask that question. So it was just kind of this crazy moment of like, wait a minute, I'm even asking this. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm even having to like really think about it.
Yeah, and you had to answer seriously.
I did. I literally Google mapped where you were parking. I was like, I think you're okay if you kind of hurry up to this area. So, and I was literally looking out my window and I was seeing where that was. And I was trying to give you the best insight because, the last thing I want is to tell you it's okay. And then you get jumped on Highland. And then what's funny is I rode the elevator with a guy from my, at my building. And he said that he worked with a development group that developed the building. And he was telling me about like all the work that they're trying to do to clean up the neighborhood, because obviously, that's good for them. And they want to do more properties in the neighborhood and all this stuff. And he was just kind of telling me in a quick 30-second elevator ride how tough it is politically. And like, that the whole defund the police thing is still very, very real. And the crime, there's nothing they can do about it because he said that there's a new guy, I think, running to be the controller for the city who made a statement and said, I will not sign police officers' checks. And so this guy was telling me on the elevator ride, it was funny because I had just talked to Anand and then this guy was telling me that they're trying to clean up the neighborhood and politically, it's impossible, and that all the people are just like, no, we won't. We're not cracking down on crime. We're not doing anything about the homeless. Whatever. So anyway, Anand, looks like you're screwed for a while, but
yeah. So it's the Hollywood Challenge. We're going to Florence and the Machine at the Hollywood Bowl tomorrow night. Mm-hmm. We're eating at a restaurant that's probably 21-minute walk from Hollywood Bowl. So we're going to Uber to the restaurant and pray for us.
I just did Hollywood
see
Bowl.
some shit.
I just did Hollywood Bowl last Monday for Stevie Nicks. Mm-hmm. We got dropped off pretty close. Like I think we got dropped off at the entrance. On the way out, I called an Uber. One jackass about to pick us up, then goes, how many people are you? He goes, I go 4. He goes, you have to call an SUV. I'm like, no, you don't. 4 is SUV, a regular car. It was an SUV, but a regular car. Yeah. He's like, no, cancel and call. I'm like, no, I'm not canceling. And he's like, that's the only way I can do it. So I cancel, immediately takes another one and just leaves us.
No way.
Yeah.
You couldn't negotiate saying like, I'll make it up on the tip?
Fuck him.
Huh. Was he an SUV that you called a car? Got it.
Yeah.
That's so
I'll give you the real Hollywood challenge, which I did with my kids the other day. I took them on the subway from the subway station in Hollywood and Highland.
Oh my God.
Both kids?
Both kids. I drove.
What are you thinking?
So
my when Jay-Z rode the subway in New York, he wanted them to feel like they're part of the people.
So my oldest son is obsessed with trains. My youngest son's obsessed with trains. My oldest knows that our dad worked on the subway station. Yep. So he always talks about it, always wants to go on it. And so I was like, you know what? We have some time today. Let's go. So I told Haley, you chill. I'm going to take these guys on the subway. Park the car in Hollywood and Highland.
Wow.
Take Miles. I carry him and Dominic walks. We first have to go to Hollywood and Highland walk. And they're just like terrified because it's fucking chaos.
Yeah.
And then we go down the escalator because they love escalators. So we're going down the escalators. Police are running up the stairs, right? And Dominic goes, hey, what are those guys doing? I'm like, oh, they're just, doing a check. He's like, I think they're catching a bad guy. That's what Dama goes. God. I'm like, there's no bad guys. He's like, no, they're catching a bad guy. I could tell. They look very angry.
Wow.
They literally were arresting somebody.
Oh my God.
It's very,
so we go down.
Yeah, he's very in tune.
Yeah. And so we get to the ticket area, buying the ticket. I see that it says all rides are free today. And I'm not too sure, but I want to give the kids the full experience. Buy the ticket. We go, give him a Metro card. He taps it. He goes in. We go down. We're waiting for the train. A lot of people there. And a million questions. Like, why can't I go there? Why can't I go past this line? Why can't we go there? And he's just talking, Dominic. And then finally, after like 6 minutes, the train comes. He's nervous. We sit down. Miles just goes and sits on like the handicap section. He just plops down and he's like, this is too fast. This is too fast. I need to get off.
Oh my
while
God.
the train was going.
Yeah, because it's just like, he did not expect it to be that
and
fast.
It's jerky to start.
Yeah. And then like I was standing, so I kind of fell a little. So it was like, he got nervous. We sat down and he's like, I want to get off. Next stop. And I'm like, let's do a few. We get to 3 stops. And he likes it. I'm like, do you want to go all the way to Union Station and do that whole thing? And then I could sense that, for Miles to sit for another 15 minutes was too much. So we get out off the train. We sit down and he's like, I want to go back on that train. The one we just got. I'm like, that's gone. We have to go. We're going home. So we get off at Sunset in Vermont. We're the only people there and a homeless guy. Dominic just goes and sits down. The homeless guy's behind us. We're sitting in front of him. Miles keeps going, mo choo choo, and we taught him like basic sign language. So more is when you put your hands together, and he's just saying mo choo choo, mo choo choo. He says it so many times. The homeless guy looks at me. He's like, "Are you serious?" He's like, what do you, get this fucking kid away from me.
Come on, get your shit together.
Yeah, so I walked to the other end of the station so that, because this kid is saying mo choo choo for 30 minutes.
That's amazing.
Bear in mind, the trains are slammed, all rides free.
Why?
Because they opened a new station, a new line, K line or K station. I don't know what it was. So they wanted everyone to just ride it to experience the station. So it's a zoo. This train now is late. We finally get back on. Then we go upstairs and we end up leaving. But it's interesting. The crowd of the subway is what you expect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Questionable. A lot of, people, just a lot of funny business going around.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've experienced Hollywood at the fullest the last 2 weekends.
Yeah. So I went to the Naj Wu-Tang show at the Hollywood Bowl, but we ate basically the Hollywood Highland complex, like right across the street. So we cut through the mall and got straight to the crowd goers.
Yeah.
So I didn't get exposed this time. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm going to see.
There's a lot of limes. If you want to take a lime, there's a lot of limes.
Yeah, you can definitely lime. And then, the good news is on a Friday night, there's going to be so many people out that you can just kind of blend in and you'll be fine. Like, even if you were going on like a Tuesday and walking in that like obscure area, I would say it's probably more sketchy, but there's still a lot of people that obviously just don't know, or from out of town or whatever, don't know that the whole thing turned to shit. And, there's still a lot of people out on Friday and Saturday night. So you'll be fine. But hey, I don't want you to get injured by any means or get anything stolen, but hopefully you get some sort of story.
Yeah.
Just a little run in. Maybe you have to like sprint, for a block.
Really funny, just on a pop culture note. I got obsessed with this Little Yachty walk to Poland.
Yeah. It's just taking the internet by storm. Yep.
Obsessed, right? So I've been just mouthing the words at home.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, however it goes.
Yeah.
And then Dominic goes today, he's like, what's Poland? I go, it's a country. And he goes, is that where you go to die?
Oh my God.
I was
you said maybe.
I didn't want to actually...
what Putin's going to do. Who knows?
Oh my
I was
God.
like, why do you think that? I was like, is someone telling you? Like, how do you...
maybe someone at school told him,
That's what I'm
Russia's
thinking.
coming to Poland.
Yeah, I literally was like, why did you think Poland is where you go to die? Like, it's an insane statement. Like 5-year-olds are crazy.
They are. There's a lot going on in those heads at 5.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, well,
All right.
at least he's very in tune. He knows where the bad guys are, and maybe he knows a little bit more about nuclear war than we do.
Yeah, you might know a little more about global Russia strategy than any of us.
His foreign policy's tight. Okay, well, I can't wait to get the recap. I hope there's some news, but obviously nothing. You'll be fine. But it's just really funny that we have to even have that conversation.
Right.
I mean, can you think about like, I don't just like whatever. I don't want to be annoying for the listener, but the amount of times that we at like 3 a.m. have just walked around Hollywood.
Pretty much every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night for a decade plus.
I've walked 4 a.m. from like Sound or Element or whatever it was on Las Palmas back to Mount Olympus at 4 in the morning.
Right. Yeah.
And you would never do that now.
I would never.
Monday
I would
nights-
do it at 7 p.m.
Remember Monday nights we would go to Dee's, watch Fantasy Factory, get wasted, and then just walk around Hollywood.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. Just vulnerable as shit. And there was never like, the other thing is it never even crossed my mind. Like I remember even going to like LAX or whatever. And there would be like sometimes like fights in the parking lot or whatever, but you were never nervous. Remember that one fight that happened where somebody broke a bottle over somebody's head?
Yeah.
Right?
Someone
that, like,
we may or may not know very well.
So that like spilled out into the street. There was all this thing, but you never felt unsafe.
No.
And yeah, whatever. It's really shocking. And it was really funny that literally 2 hours later, I rode the elevator with this guy and he was telling me that, you know, as someone trying to do, for him, financial reasons, of course, but like trying to do everything he can to clean up the neighborhood.
My advice to the city is maybe let's auto signature the police checks. Don't have this guy.
How about direct deposit?
I mean, that's why. If that's true, once again, I heard it in an elevator. Who knows? But if that is true, it is wild. And
Well, it's just more of just the mentality. It's just so like counterproductive to even say things like that because it doesn't do anything by stoking people. It's so
especially
stupid.
when you see what's happening. I mean, like,
I don't know what it's like. Yeah, I don't know what his goal is.
I generally don't really see police anymore.
No, they're done.
No, you're right. You're right. You know what else I was thinking the other day? Maybe I'm wrong here, but the other day I was thinking, because, you know, I drive a car with tinted windows, and that's always been like a thing. I've always, anytime I pass a cop, I'm like, is he going to pull me over?
Give a ticket, yeah.
And I don't even think about it anymore. Like, I'm like, they're not worried about me. Like tinted windows. There's like 5
Petty
murders
crimes,
on their fucking
I think
walkie-talkie right now that they're
the only
avoiding.
place I see police is on the freeway catching speeding tickets. That's it.
Yeah,
Even
that's still
that
a hot business. But
it's not like I see like a stop sign cop near a school because I think kids are there, so like they're pulling people over running stop signs.
I told all these guys once they started coming to the office to like really make sure if you're crossing the Jersey Makes or whatever to make sure the car stopped, because I've seen numerous times cars just flying through red lights on Wilshire.
Yeah. Because it's fun. I mean, even when I come there to record, it's like Wilshire is this drag strip, but there's so many stoplights, and you're like, oh, no one's looking. Yeah, so be careful because I might be that car. Okay, let's talk about it. CPI.
Yes.
We're in, and we are fucking through the roof. Numbers are up.
CPI came in hotter than anything you could ever imagine.
I mean, our high guesses were in the 7s, just to remind. Like, we thought we were being bold. I think, Dee, you said, like, I'm going high. I'm going 7, 8. 8.2.
8.2. 0.4% increase over last year. Look, I don't think it's a surprise that it came in hot. I think this obviously excludes fuel, right?
It excludes energy and food. It's funny how you can make any exclusion and
why don't they just exclude rent?
Mm-hmm.
So
just exclude everything.
Just say
we're talking
if
about
you
chocolate. We're only talking about
food,
chocolate.
energy, rent.
You just
water's flat.
Airfare.
Can I give some encouraging news?
Yep, please.
Because as we know, the Fed has no idea what they're doing. I think they're drunk with press. Like, why are they always on TV? Why are they doing so many interviews?
Yeah, because this is their chance. It's like
they're
Fauci,
like the
you know?
Fauci
Like
and
you have a chance. You have your moment. You might as well shine. You get a book off of this, a podcast.
Like we shouldn't know who Neil Kashkari is.
No.
Unfortunately. I'm sure he's a great guy.
He actually was very instrumental during the 08 financial crisis, but we should have forgotten about him.
Yeah.
Just go privately, do your work.
We don't need to be knowing anybody in the federal government.
So what my point was, the Fed is basically, they look backwards, right? And they want to scare everyone and go on Bloomberg and CNBC and scare the whole world. Yeah. But some interesting things like rent is obviously lagging. It's a lagging indicator, what they're looking at. So in September, rents are up 9% year over year, which is significantly down from months before. Yep. So there's a clear deceleration in rent increases, which is good news. And I don't know if it'll hit the coasts, but it's definitely going to hit the rest of the country. Rents are going to go down. Yep. And I think that's why the market looked at the data and said hey, there's some encouraging news here. If you actually
no, I think the market was like, you know what? Fuck this. We're going up. Yeah. You think there's some scientific reason why the market went up? I think they're just like, you know what? I'm sick of red on my phone. I want to see green.
So if you exclude energy, if you exclude food, energy, and rent, inflation looks good. It's coming down.
All right, stock market ripped. You keep saying if the CPI is 7.2, the stock market's going to rip. If it's 7.4, it's going to tank. They're like, you know what? Fuck it. There's water prices are flat. Rip it. We want the old days.
What else is there besides rent, food, and energy?
Goods and services, bro.
There's nothing. Let it rip.
Goods and services. Yeah, car washes are down.
Oh my god, it's just wild. I just can't believe. I mean, I guess at this point it's kind of a joke the same way it was. We joked last year about how nothing makes sense. Everything's going up. Every NFT is worth $50 million. Every whatever. And to me, this almost feels like the opposite. It's like, okay, you're not solving inflation. Nothing is happening.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get to their target inflation rate unless we're in a deep, deep recession.
Or we just got to start excluding. I'm starting a new exclusionary economic theory.
Yeah, because we've talked about this ad nauseum.
Just look at what you want to
EET. I'm going to win the Nobel Prize for economics for EET. You just see the data how you want to see it. You could go to sleep with no inflation if you want it.
Of course you can.
I think I'm going to do that tonight, actually.
Yeah.
So I think we've said this ad nauseum. There's a certain level of inflation that you just can't control, and we are going to be in this persistent inflated prices because of the way the global economy is, the way supply chain is, the way climate change is causing disruption in all over the world, including here with hurricanes and whatnot.
And energy is just a huge problem.
Yeah, and energy is not being solved unless global demand falls off a cliff, which means we're in a deep recession.
Yeah.
England has no idea what they're doing either. Their pensions might be bankrupt.
Do these idiots keep raising rates, though?
Yeah, these guys keep raising rates, and it's so politically unfavorable to be in an environment where rates are rising. Think about the pension funds for a fireman.
Yeah,
that's down.
Well, what's interesting is you saw Social Security came out today and saying next year it's an 8.9% increase in Social Security disbursements. And so the average check now is going to be $140 more a month. Given what, I don't know, I'm not an economic, I only came up with one theory. I just haven't won the Nobel Prize yet. Mm-hmm. How the fuck are they going to pay for this with increased interest payments due?
Since when do we answer that question? What are you asking? Come on, you obviously don't know anything about the economy.
And do you know what's interesting is when the Fed keeps raising rates, we have $31 trillion in debt. We're raising our own borrowing rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they are. So, do you think a rate hike is coming?
No, definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
I think the market's basically baked in.
They think it's going to be 100 basis points.
75, 25 is baked in, and they claim that they're going to keep it at those levels all next year too. That's what they're saying, which they can't because the economy's going to be in a dumpster fire by January.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time. What business have you heard recently that's saying, man, it's booming?
I got a DM from someone that said business is booming. Chocolate.
It is chocolate. I knew it.
You know,
I knew
right?
there was something with chocolate.
Something that you're like saying that it's like a treat that you can give yourself that's inexpensive.
Right.
And I forgot the brand.
Okay, the chocolate business, but I'm just saying in general, you talk to any technology company, terrible.
Yeah.
Any apparel business, terrible. Go across every industry. Gas stations, terrible. They said no one's filling up gas. People aren't going places.
You want to know what's not terrible? Delta Airlines.
Yeah.
Record revenue Q3. They are ripping. So if you're wondering where the last bit of money went, it went to flights.
I have to go back to New York next week, and I've always flown Delta. I have, diamond status, all that stuff. Their flights are so expensive. I'm done. Like,
What's a business class flight?
I don't know, like $4,000.
Really?
Oh my God.
$5,000. Forget it. Delta's a joke.
Did Delta become like the airline for LA to New York?
I think so. I mean,
people have been telling me that.
I think American is because of the 3-class plane. So you can be first. Delta, it's just 2 class.
But what happened with Delta? Like, does Delta have nice seats or something?
I think they've just become like a great brand.
Maybe it's the John and Vinny's.
The John and Vinny's helps.
Yeah, that's true. That'll do it.
But yeah, Delta flights are just unaffordable.
That's crazy.
Insane.
Well, yeah, no wonder. They had a record Q3, revenue through the roof.
They said 90% of their flights are full.
That's also summertime.
But I watched him this morning on CNBC. And he was saying that everyone thought the pent-up demand was just the summer. That did not fulfill the needs of the American pig. So you're going to ride this thing through.
Yeah, I'll give it good.
So you're saying travel stays high all through the winter.
Good.
Oh, yeah. I think that like people like didn't go Christmas last year because of COVID. They didn't do like
I haven't been to Ohio in 2 years, 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't been to Ohio since before COVID.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to go this year then, probably.
Yeah, I'm going.
See? You're the Delta.
You're the problem.
I'm one of these flying pigs you're talking about.
It's flying pig. People are asking, when can pigs fly? This Christmas. Christmas. Pigs are going to be flying everywhere.
So this New Year's, we booked a trip like 6-7 months ago to a high-end resort in a nice area. And I just shot the travel person that organized it for all our friends. Yesterday, I was like, hey, how are prices? Have they come down? And she's like, I have 3 people on a wait list for a $39,000 night villa.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. We have to raise interest rates to 16, 17%.
We have to.
The fact that there's a waiting list is a joke.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anand's a really good gauge on what the pigs are up to,
Yeah. Pigs are, you know how big of a pig you have to be on a wait list for $39,000 a night room?
Oh my God.
You're just a pig that needs to be slaughtered.
Maybe it's for the time period, but whatever. It was $39,000.
Oh my God. I also really feel like I would love to, I don't remember. So I'd love to see like a chart of air travel this year versus last. Because last year, remember, was like the fake like reopening, we have vaccines, we're all good. And then that didn't end up being the case. And we had Delta or whatever we had at that time, Omicron or whatever. I really feel like that's another thing that's really impacting shopping or businesses, because I think that any dollar left to spend is going to things like traveling and that trip that you haven't taken for 2 years, because this year it was finally actually open.
Yeah, I think you're going to see, I guess, busy December travel, because like you said, I remember it was like, if you cared about COVID, at least a decent percentage of the country did. It was just like you were grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because your kids can't go to school if you get COVID, like so many reasons not to travel.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think the Delta guy is right. Like, sees demand. If there's going to be softness, it'll be next spring, next summer.
Right. Yeah, that's what I kept saying. I think next Q1 is when you should see a decline. If we don't, just
keep raising.
I don't know.
Keep raising. You got to get to 20%. We'll cool this thing down.
Yeah.
We'll deflate you.
Yeah. I just think there's too much like demand. Our friend David was at Disneyland on Sunday.
Oh, the mouse! Come on, you can't. That's not a good gauge.
Oh yeah.
He said it was so crowded.
There could literally be a war on home soil, and it would be packed.
There could be a war in Long Beach, and Anaheim, Disneyland is
They would have gas masks on, handing them out with ears attached.
You know, like in World War II, they had the sirens. If the sirens started going out, like a bomb was coming, are people getting off Splash Mountain?
Nobody's leaving.
No.
They waited too long. Like, whatever, you're going to die, I'm going to at least be at the happiest place on earth.
Yeah, that's true. If you're going to die, I mean, Disneyland would be a great place to do it. You're going to get hit in the head with a missile. Okay, what's going on with Google's partnered up with Coinbase? Is that what's going on over there in crypto land?
Yeah, it looks like for payments on their cloud services, they'll take cryptocurrencies. So I'm assuming these are like Web3 companies that have been funded by cryptocurrencies. Like a lot of these Web3 companies raised we raised $50 million in Cumrocket. And so now you could potentially use Cumrocket to pay your cloud bill.
Yeah. And in crypto land, you haven't seen a lot of activity, but today Uniswap, which is a DeFi protocol, raised $165 million today.
What are they doing over there?
DeFi.
So you don't know.
No, it's
DeFi's like a catch-all. I don't know.
It's like when Kramer and Seinfeld goes, you just write it off. And Jerry's like, you don't even know what write it off means.
It's write it off. DeFi is the new write it off.
It's a decentralized exchange. So Coinbase is centralized. Uniswap is decentralized.
Okay. So you just write it off.
Write it off.
Just write it off. Yeah. I mean, Coinbase, props to Coinbase, man. They are just good. Like they
keep doing shit. They at least keep doing shit. Like they're moving it forward. Yeah.
Good for them.
Speaking of protection, did you guys launch a condom?
Oh no, we're launching a sex version of the game that asks sex questions, and there's some condoms as marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say you guys are, the Ledger of the real world then.
yeah. Maybe we should have partnered with Ledger and said stay safe in the digital world and it's just a condom with a little Ledger Nano in it.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, this would be actually like such a great collaboration.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
What is Ledger really like? It's protecting your most valuable assets.
Yep.
What is a condom doing?
Yeah, that's very true. Maybe we should reach out to them. They're literally like the condoms of the digital world.
Exactly. And the Nano is the premier device to stay protected.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so it's a digital condom. I don't know if they would be happy with us saying that, but but if you're curious, if you've heard us talking about Ledger this whole time and you're like, it just doesn't quite make sense what it is. There you go.
Well, yeah, if you're a person that would use that, then you should use a Ledger.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yeah, stay protected.
Always stay protected. And I mean, look, it's people like undervalue just, I was reading the dollar amount that hackers have taken this year. It's staggering.
It's in the billions.
No, tens of billions. Yeah. And something like half the money in crypto was stolen.
It's so wild. Yeah.
Well,
because I feel like the crypto boom kind of happened, thank God for people like Ledger that are coming in and worrying about the safety part, but this thing kind of got too big before
the infrastructure was there.
Yeah. And so it just left it wide open. I mean, I bet you the scam rate just in general, when you go to PPP loans and crypto and the amount of thievery and scamming that happened in 2020 through today is probably record levels.
I mean, there's 3.7 million Bitcoins that are permanently lost. That's the estimate. They're in the ocean.
But that's not scams.
No, that's not scam. But just think about that. Keep your crypto safe.
There's a story. I don't know it really well, so I'm just going to go through it really quick. Mr. Beast, had a podcast of his on in the background the other day, and he was telling a story about how his house got broken into and somebody stole, I believe, his laptop, and the laptop had his crypto pass key on it. Yeah. And he had a couple $1 million of Bitcoin. And whatever happened, he ended up recovering the stuff. And, they kind of took all this stuff. They took clothes, they took all this, but they just left the crypto passkey untouched because they didn't know what it was, and it was just $2 million sitting right in front of him, and he got it back.
That's crazy.
So here's an interesting thing. They said $14 billion of crypto scams in 2021. 14 billion.
It's a lot.
Gosh. Okay,
so in
what else do you need
2020,
to hear?
so this is in 2019. I haven't been able to figure it out, like the exact number, but like it says that email wire fraud from 2016 to 2019 was 26 billion. But just think of the TAM of wires compared to crypto. It's a small percentage still. $14 billion compared to, let's say the total crypto value today is probably what, $700-800 billion.
Yeah. It's an emerging market.
Yeah, it's like a small currency scam.
Yeah, there's a lot of money on the table to be had. I bet this is nothing because there'll be a lot of people that don't know about things like Ledger and don't know that stuff for a while. That stuff takes a long time to become the norm.
Yeah, typically you get hacked first, lose your first bit of crypto, and then you start getting serious if you stay in the space, or your friend gets hacked.
Yeah,
so we're trying to prevent that.
Yes,
up front.
Shop.ledger.com.
There you go. Get yourself a nano. Okay. Here's the topic that, it's like our new Jeff Bezos. It's our new, whatever. We have Elon Musk. We have these moments where you just can't avoid it. Ye West in the news still. He's been on a run now for a couple weeks. They've been real hot on the news. So he was banned from, I don't know if we talked about this. He was banned from Twitter and Instagram. Mainly because of the anti-Semitic. Oh yeah, we did the anti-Semitic tweet that he had and that stuff. I saw that the shop, LeBron's show, Mav Carter put out a statement that they recorded an episode with him that they're choosing not to air because they were hoping he would kind of come on and apologize, but he instead kind of came on and kept that hot hate speech flying.
It must have been pretty wild for them to shelve it because
and HBO is pretty edgy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like they're the edgiest of kind of.
And it'll be the most watched show in their existence. And they're like, we can't do it.
It had to be really bad because it would literally have been the most watched show that they've ever had. And look, at the end of the day, we all know you're trying to get clicks. So they shelved that. Here's a crazy thing. Candace Owens posted on Twitter that she posted a screenshot of a letter from JPMorgan, who Kanye banks with and Yeezy LLC banks with. And it's essentially JPMorgan kicking all things Yeezy and Yeezy affiliates out of JPMorgan Bank, giving them till November 1st to be completely out, saying you should probably stop all transactions now so that you don't have any problem. You got to kick rocks. This is pretty massive. There's a lot of people that do a lot of crazy stuff out there in the world. I personally haven't heard of someone getting completely dropped from a bank.
So I've heard a lot of people, and mainly because of their two reasons. One is they either do a lot of international business, and so for national security reasons, a lot of banks don't want to take any risk, so they just kick. I know of two people that have in the last 2 years,
especially depending on the countries you're wiring to.
Yeah, like so.
But what about like speaking, like the thing you said on?
So I know some cannabis is big.
Cannabis, everyone's getting their bank taken.
Everyone gets taken away. Yeah. Anti-Semitism, and banking don't fucking work, bro.
Anti-Semitism doesn't work on Wall Street. Let's be very clear.
Yeah, you can't go DEFCON 5 on Jewish people.
No, it does not work.
Expect JP to be happy about it.
And by the way, he ain't getting a bank account anywhere.
Not from a major one.
No. He's like doing some local credit union at best. Like,
can you imagine? Like, I feel like probably.
Can you imagine Kanye going to the cash check place?
Yeah.
I got 75 million. Can I cash?
Can you imagine the people that are on Yeezy payroll? Like all these people that probably just aren't going to get paid for a couple months.
I'm telling you. I saw people saying, "Oh, this is the case for cryptocurrency." I'm like, "No, it's not. This guy can't buy a sandwich soon." Okay, you can't buy a sandwich with cryptocurrency right now.
It's pretty wild. Yeah. He's basically like step by step alienating himself from everyone. Like if LeBron and Maverick Carter are not on your side, like that's a big deal.
So and JPMorgan.
JPMorgan's a very bad look.
All you have is
because by the way, what bank is going to now say, yeah, Kanye, please bring your money here. knowing of all this anti-Semitism that's going on.
Yeah,
with
he
his
may have to
rhetoric.
go international or Bahamas or something.
HSBC.
Plus, think
Bahamas
about
would
how
take
hot
him.
it is. Like, you know that, like, you could potentially be just, canceled or put in the public discussion because you're the bank who took him on.
That's my point. Is that
Yeah.
like it's just the risk is too high. This is banking. This is like no one's fucking with their bank charter. No one's gonna hurt their reputation as a bank. You saw Credit Suisse. Someone basically made up that they could be going insolvent.
Right.
The company cratered.
Yeah.
And so
They should
here's
take
the thing. The other piece that is really going to play out, I think, very quickly is Adidas has been extremely silent. They're a German company, and every day there's a Yeezy drop right now. They are emailing every single day. I think they're just trying to get rid of everything and cut him. Like, there's no way Adidas can continue on if JPMorgan is cutting him off.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
true.
And I think it's very different than every other Kanye crazy thing. There's not one person other than the alt-right that's standing up for him.
Yeah.
You used to hear the stories of, like, back in the day, like Chappelle was privately calling people to, like, hey, he's just sick.
Yeah.
Let's give him a chance. And you don't hear that anymore.
No, everyone's done.
Yeah.
He's toast.
Yeah, I mean,
Banking, I don't think people realize not having a bank account is a big problem.
yeah, and I
It's a
don't
big
think
problem.
anti-Semitism, like how serious that is, especially on the coasts.
Yeah.
Like, there's no tolerance for any of that bullshit.
No, it isn't. And he even referenced apparently in an interview to Hitler, like, dude, if you know history, like, it's not something you joke about lightly.
No, of course not. And not only is it's so disgusting, but he said he's happy that he crossed the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
so you're
happened
tripling
there?
down.
Yeah.
You're
I thought he
tripling
would
down
maybe
on it.
apologize. What happened? He got caught at Candace Owens' movie premiere and interviewed, and he said he was happy that
I'm happy I crossed the line.
Wow.
I think he knows normally he crosses the line and there's no recourse. But
It
this
finally caught
line
up to
is
him.
this one's toast. You're toast. I'm sorry, banking is impossible. You're fucked. You lose your house, you have no mortgage, you're done. Like,
Can you
have,
imagine like losing the Gap, Adidas if he does, and banking? Like, all of your infrastructure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Are these kids still buying Yeezys?
I mean, Ari
says
said
no.
he still fucks with his Yeezys.
I mean, he's
No,
anti-Semitic.
no chance I wear them anymore. They're done.
But you just won't throw them away.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
fine.
shelve
That's
them
fine.
for now.
That's fine.
Just in case he comes back.
Yeah, exactly.
He ain't coming back.
Just in case he has a hot "I'm sorry" song. I mean, this is pretty wild. Who knows what ends up happening here? But like, we did talk about like 2 months ago. Is there any scenario where Kanye could really fuck himself?
I didn't
said
envision
no.
baking. I didn't think of the baking.
Well, I also did envision he would go this route.
Yeah.
This might be it, man. He might be finally imploding. I feel like he's literally dodged this moment for so long, and other people have helped out and they've propped him up and they've covered for him and all this stuff. But this feels, I mean, when TMZ starts pulling up old interviews that you did where, in 2018, like you said, Dee, where he mentioned Hitler and something about I like Hitler and the Nazis or something. And, it's just, I don't know, man, when you get into that, like, free fall, because I feel like Kanye has behind the scenes done some pretty wild and like kind of fucked up things for a while, but I think people always cover for him. Like, these stories don't get out. I've heard stories of people doing business with him and just him being wild and like yelling at people and, just doing things that nobody else could get away with. But people cover for him, and I don't know. This might be it.
Yeah, I think he's so toxic at this point. It's pretty hard to recover from this. Like, I mean, I just think like if you don't have a bank account, you're fucking lights out.
Yeah.
Do you think Shervin sticks by Kanye? So Shervin is a well-known venture capitalist that was early in Uber, made a lot of money.
What's his?
He's behind the scenes. He's in the photos. But you could just search Shervin Kanye.
Is he
the
Muslim?
rumor is he's like running it.
Is he Muslim or Jewish?
He's Persian. Don't know his religious affiliation.
Well, that has a big piece to it.
There's always someone who's a savvy operator who still sees dollar signs who will stick around.
Yeah.
like for at least another 5 years. You know, like you have to be. People still see like a meal ticket and like, okay, we can.
By the way, I'm not saying there's not money to be made being Kanye West. There's always money to be made, but like money to be made in America might be different.
But we know how this stuff works. There's always someone who will hop in there and say, fuck it, I'm trying to make money.
Yeah.
Let me try to get this shit together. If it's that guy, who knows? Yeah,
look, there's always ways to make money. I think the part, you'll just be a small, if you don't have traditional infrastructure, you're just limited. There's only so much you could do.
Yeah. I mean, I just know from what I know, and you know actually a lot better than me, Dee, but like there's a lot of people on the Yeezy payroll, and there's a lot of like, you know, like young designers and like just there's a lot of people working and taking a check from Yeezy. And if that stops for 2 months while he figures out his banking situation, those people have to leave. They have to go somewhere else.
To me,
especially to keep up with inflation.
The tipping point is, I'm sure Adidas pays most of these people directly. I wouldn't be surprised. It's just the Adidas relationship is what is the cash machine for Kanye. If that machine turns off,
that's true.
Then who steps in? Like a Chinese company might do it. ByteDance might say, hey, yeah, whatever. We don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Bank with us.
I guess what I'm saying is like, totally, yeah, you're totally right. I guess what I'm saying is if you lose Adidas and so you lose that cash machine and then you just lose, like you can't pay your people and you lose, like that's a really hard hole to dig out of compared to where you were 1 month ago.
Yeah.
Like 1 month ago, I feel like Yeezy from Adidas just makes so much money that he can have 2,000 people on staff if he wants, and they can all be, you know, just trying to make it work. But now it just crumbles so quickly.
Yeah. So this is the first real crack in the Yeezy infrastructure brand. Him as a famous person. And we'll see. Is this the straw that broke the camel's back?
Because it's not a crack in terms of his image, because he's had many of those. I think it's like you hurt his wallet.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the first time we saw the pocketbook hurt.
I don't think we've ever experienced this in modern day culture, meaning like, I'm sure whatever, maybe like Elvis, you know, lost it at one point.
Donald Trump getting kicked off Twitter and Instagram was like a pretty big...
What I'm saying like artist, genius, superstar.
Oh yeah, just getting torn down.
It. Yeah, like in the social media era. Like no one's really... Like, of course, people have kind of become irrelevant or become unlikable or like whatever, but like a complete meltdown of our biggest entertainer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's wrap it up with our winners, losers, and content recommendations. Dee, who's your winner of the week?
My winner of the week is Dan Snyder.
What's he up to? Little blackmailing or something?
He's the owner of the Washington Commanders. And he, you know, they're under investigation
for literally everything under the NFL for all kinds of bad policies internally, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But he did something that I thought was interesting, which is he went and hired a private investigator and dug up dirt on Goodell, on NFL owners, and basically is saying, you come after me and try to make me sell the team, I'm taking down the whole ship.
Wow.
I want to know, this is war. No one's won against the shield. So that's the colloquial term we refer to as the NFL, that it's impenetrable.
Yeah.
No one's ever done it.
They got Kanye. Maybe it's the year that Kanye and the NFL get hit.
I don't know. I don't think fans will care if these owners have the most disgusting things. Yeah. It's not going to affect viewership. No. We love the game.
Yeah, they're fine.
But, I think it could just get a couple billionaires to force to sell the team. There's no shortage of billionaires that want an NFL team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's worst case scenario. Goodell steps down, 3 billionaires sell their team. I think that's worst case. Ratings all-time high.
I think they go and just settle with him. Like, what do you got? Let me see what you got.
I want to see the dirt.
Let me see.
Let me see how bad it is. I would forfeit. How many weeks of not being able to watch football would you forfeit to see those texts?
0, because I don't care.
It's fair, because we already know what these guys are up to. You wouldn't
sacrifice 1 week?
No. There's only 16. I'm not giving up 17 now. 17. Yeah, I'm not giving up.
You know how good it probably is?
I don't give a shit. It just probably confirms it confirms every ridiculous thing we could think of. I mean, the Epstein stuff was unimaginable. I don't know if it goes that far, but it's the normal scumbag shit for sure.
Whatever. Slurs here, slurs there. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I can't. It's like whatever. I want to watch football.
Yeah.
I love the way Sunday Night Football is shot. I love Monday Night Football. I love Thursday Night Football. I like the 10 a.m. Sunday game. I like the Sunday 1 p.m. game.
Thursday
I like
game.
the pre-show. I like it all.
It starts so early. I was up early on Sunday. This show's starting at like 5 a.m.
Great. I like them all.
Yeah. They're not going anywhere. But
Great.
I mean, Dan Snyder, hell of a job. Way to like really.
I like
we're entering an
power
era.
move.
Yeah.
That's some.
We're entering an era where these things are going to be more and more common. You know, like things are going to leak, you know, whatever, especially in this digital age. But Dan Snyder really got ahead of it.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for my day to come. I dare you. Anand, who's your winner?
My winner is Brian Toll and John Turgeon from the Hwood Group. They're out in Dubai. Just opened Nice Guy Dubai.
Wow.
Congratulations to you guys. I've got some friends there sending me videos. It looks incredible.
Yeah, it looks really nice. And they did confirm that my discount works there too.
Wow.
Because I asked him, like, does my, he goes like, sure. So if I go there and the discount doesn't work.
Better hope the time zone, because I feel like there's going to be a text needed to be sent back to
So you
home
get like a
base.
4 a.m. text. Like, Brian,
Yeah,
what the fuck?
why am I paying full price?
I came to Dubai without my wallet. Come on.
I think like stiffing on a bill in Dubai, you get arrested. You go to jail. It's not like
Yeah,
LA.
I got to bring my wallet in Dubai. That shit's not going to fly.
Yeah, if we have to free you because fucking Brian was asleep at 4 a.m. and you gotta pay for your mac and cheese. Yeah. You know what I loved is like in the video of it, it looks like you're in kind of like the Nice Guy, you know, on La Cienega.
Yeah.
And I feel like you could be all the way in Dubai and like you feel like, oh yeah, I'm just, you know, like it's very recognizable.
Yeah, it looks sick.
No, it's awesome.
Very cool. My winner, I'll just choose from one of our stories we didn't get time to cover. The families of the Sandy Hook victims were awarded $965 million from Alex Jones for falsely, you know, accusing that they were crisis actors and going on this whole campaign. I mean, this is amazing. I know obviously it doesn't even, you know, not even close to covering the absolute insane trauma of that happening, but I think it's just more like I don't know. I'm sure that like I could not even imagine like going through that and then having this clown Alex Jones saying these type of things, and just the thought of like he might just get away with it. And you know, I don't even know. I wouldn't have been able to tell you what the punishment is for lying online. I don't know, but this is a real number. So at a minimum, it will, you know, disincentivize the next kook. When tragedy happens.
That's what I thought, you know, obviously absent the tragedy, which is unimaginable as well, but I think it's putting the alt-right QAnon on notice.
Yeah.
Like now what you say matters. You can't just like run with these weird conspiracy theories and make a bunch of money off of it. So like, I'm curious if it changes the discourse on the right.
Yeah.
And you know, Donald Trump just got subpoenaed before we started recording for the January 6th trial. Yeah. They're not stopping the investigation to Mar-a-Lago. Like, this is the first sign of hope that maybe there is a line of fuckery could end in this country. Yeah. And that's, you know, a slight bit of optimism that we haven't had in a long time.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Well, that's the good news. Dee, who is the loser of the week?
My loser is the Fed. I don't know what they're doing. It's just annoying. Like there's clearly a recession impending. If you don't want to believe that's happening now, they're being very aggressive with their rhetoric. There's actual human beings' lives are at stake, and so I know they're working on policy, but like have some empathy to like what people are going through. It's kind of like monetary policy is like a game that like affects people's real life, and I think the administration needs to take it more seriously. Like every time they put out a statement, they're saying, oh, the inflation report was good. They literally said that there's improvement. Yeah. There isn't improvement. There isn't any material improvement. Like if you need a signal to get oil prices down, start drilling. Just say we're going to start. If you just say we're going to start drilling, oil prices will drop. Just an indication of that there's some idea there'll be some supply. Like we have to make some drastic take some drastic steps here. Otherwise, it's just going to put average people into a really bad situation.
Yeah, I think the lack of empathy in their rhetoric is really disturbing.
Yeah. It's so bad. If you want to really
we need a market to feel pain. It's not the stock market. Who cares about the stock market?
Right.
It's like
well, technically it is, because a lot of teachers, firemen, policemen had their pensions tied up in stocks and bonds. And man, I sent you a list of January to September stocks, bonds, treasury notes. It didn't even matter what category you invest in, all down 25, 30%.
That's wild. And that's
what's really crazy is when you watch like Joe Biden's remarks on it, you know, because there's also this like, I don't know if maybe it's almost like a gaslighting technique. Like it's like, oh, come on. You know, like we expected some things to be up and they're up. Like, what are we all worried about? This is going to go away soon and gas is great. It's just like, whoa, dude. Like nobody cares, or, you know, they just think that people are maybe so dumb that they can convince them that nothing's up when it clearly is.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. Anand?
Yeah, my loser was tied to your winner for obviously the families. It's just the alt-right personalities.
Yep.
They're going to have to change, because what do we always say? People change when it affects their pocketbooks. So now that you can get sued for misinformation for the purposes of just to make money, and there's a lot of people that converted into this during the pandemic because they saw it wins, like a Clay Travis, who's like claimed he was an Obama voter. Now he's like as Republicans as it gets, and just he's on the borderline of misinformation.
Yep.
And I'm curious if he recorrects.
I bet a little bit. I know that you know that every single one of them is being a little careful and maybe re-editing their script moving forward. Because that's, I mean, this is $1 billion penalty. You could very easily get a much less one for a lesser thing, but I think this is a good precedent.
Yep.
Okay, my loser is I read this article about the Bang Energy CEO, Jack Owak. Did you guys read that?
Yeah.
That was really
We actually talked about it with our interview with Brad.
Okay.
On today's episode.
So it was this article on Bloomberg, and so you guys already talked about it, but man, this guy, let me add this then. So it's this whole story about how, he's kind of fumbling Bang, it seems like. But then I went on his TikTok, because one thing that I remembered is that they did these multi-million-dollar like TikTok influencer campaigns, and they would always make the influencer tag him too. And I thought that was really interesting. And he's this like wild guy, and he's now on TikTok just bashing Pepsi. And like, I demand that the CEO of PepsiCo North America step down. There is too much plastic in our oceans. Step down. And like, he's like, it has like 7 comments, and they're like, aren't you doing the same thing, dude? And like, it's just gnarly. It's just one of these stories of extravagant, crazy CEOs gone bad. But great article. Definitely check it out.
Okay.
Content recommendations, Dee?
Yeah, so I have 2. One is head on over to our YouTube page. We've got a little bit of a makeover. We're seeing a lot of traction there with our YouTube shorts, our full episodes. Just making some progress on all the platforms.
Yeah. Who's doing that?
Just internally, they just started.
Who took the lead? I want to give a shout out. Does anyone take the lead, or is the whole team?
Yeah, Chenille and Jonathan and everyone on the team.
Job.
People don't realize how many people work on this podcast. So shout out to Jordan, Ari, Shay, Tay, Javier, Chenille, Jonathan, Jackie. It's a squad.
Yeah, we got a team. Help pay them. Go get a ledger, because we're we got to
go buy 600-700 ledgers.
YouTube is my hope for America to battle TikTok and the Chinese spyware that they have.
Yeah, I think they're the best suited.
YouTube Shorts has 1.5 billion active users, and I don't know anyone who uses YouTube Shorts.
I like YouTube Shorts. I go check it out.
Yeah, they're really cranking up the ad revenue. Yeah,
like think about like everyone launches the TikTok app every day. I don't know if everyone's launching YouTube Shorts every day.
No, definitely.
My hope is they focus on it.
Yeah,
and they take out the Chinese spyware.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a video I meant to send to you guys. I'll send it to you. Completely different, but it is content, I guess, where it's Matt Leinart walking around USC on TikTok.
So good.
And nobody knows who he is. It's really funny.
It's a sad state for USC students.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Yeah. Screw those kids.
Because he's on TV every week.
Yeah. You saw the kids. They're just like not
I feel like they kind of picked like, not. Like, I bet you ask like a football fan and they'd be like, fucking Matt.
Yeah, like
you're
a frat
legend.
You know, it's a contrast at his 2005 season. That was when they were on their chance to win the third. He couldn't even walk on campus. He was like a beetle on campus.
That's so
everyone
crazy.
Just mob him.
I can't imagine being that in college.
Yeah.
He had a fun time.
Especially in LA. Yeah, holy cow. Good for Matt. Anand?
My content of the week is a movie I've been meaning to see, Bros. It's Judd Apatow's movie. So it's a rom-com with a gay couple. And the Judd Apatow, all his movies are great. For the last like 15 years, whatever, however long he's been doing it. And I was very disappointed in the country because it bombed at the box office. The first weekend, it only did $4.5 million.
Wow.
And it got rave reviews at every film festival. Judd Apatow doesn't make bad movies.
Wokeism.
Sounds like a bunch of homophobes.
It's the anti-wokeism. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm telling you, there's like this groundswell. Anything that appears to be too progressive gets backlash in the national spotlight.
I believe "Go
woke,
woke, go broke" is what they chant on social media.
Yeah.
They're not. It is a thing. Like, it's definitely a thing that people.
But I don't think that's making a rom-com of a gay couple is woke. I think it's just
for a certain population. It is.
Yeah.
We don't care, but
come back to Ohio with me, and you'll see.
Bros is not on an AMC in Ohio.
No. Get it out of here. You said you want to watch it?
I want to see it. I've been meaning to see it, but I just haven't got a chance to.
That sounds like it'll be on a plane next month.
It might be quick. At this rate, it might be fast. You might get it in time for your New York trip you were talking about. Dee, it just reminds me, I just want to give you another gentle nudge. I know you're a busy guy, but it's really close to your concept of the gay bachelor party. And I think that could be...
Well, that could be the sequel to this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think there'll be a sequel at this rate. Shot on iPhone, maybe. Okay, great. Love it. What's my content? Oh, my content, I guess, Rick Rubin was on Joe Rogan, and it was a great interview. So,
you already finished it. Nice.
I did. It was great. They just talked about. Wait, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, typically, like, at least a lot of the guests, like the famous ones, it's nothing to do about their like actual career, and they just kind of shoot the shit. How do they do this one?
It's pretty good. There's kind of like a section about his career and how he started. And it's really cool because they're able to pull up music and play it, because it's Spotify. So they play like the way that rap sounded before Rick Rubin discovered it. And then what he was hearing like in New York in the kind of, smaller clubs that made him so intrigued and why he got involved in it. And then he talks about how that sort of rap kind of became a little more mainstream. And then he kind of got bored of it and moved on to other things. But they even talk about Rock This Way with Aerosmith and Run DMC and how that came about and how that changed a lot of things. And then he talks a lot about his creative process and like the creative process that he's witnessed other people and like what makes a great creative process. And then they also go into a pretty big thing about his weight loss. Like he got up to like a crazy weight, like 300 pounds or something at one point. And he just sort of accepted that that was just him and he could never lose weight and it was too hard. And then he talks about like losing all this weight and how it changed his life. And it's really cool. It's like a really, really well-rounded discussion, but yeah, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's not going to blow your mind, but it's a great listen and definitely a good, like, if you're going for a run this weekend or whatever, running some errands, throw it on.
Awesome. Great.
Love it. Okay, that's all we got. Do we have shout outs or no?
We have one shout out to Azim Rajani, 31st birthday on October 14th. A friend of yours is giving you a shout out. Wanted to thank you for putting them onto the group chat. And of course, we met him and a few of his friends at the Rams football game. That's awesome. So happy birthday, and hopefully we'll see you at the next Rams game.
Yeah.
Maybe the Super Bowl again. I guess the Rams aren't making the Super Bowl.
No.
It looks like the message was from a mysterious friend. I don't know. You're going to have to guess.
Good luck guessing, Azim.
Good luck.
And before we end, I want to tease an amazing content that I read before the pod.
It's for next episode.
It's for the next episode. It's a company, I don't want anyone Googling it, researched political ads of Democrats and Republicans and how they target based on interest, entertainment, shopping, sports. It's amazing.
Oh, wow.
It's blockbuster.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Okay. Well, there's a little cliffhanger for next episode.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone have a great weekend, and we will see you on Sunday.